Hey, check it out. We are at the Rogue 2019 Invitational, and I would like to talk about first the overall events and how they transpired. We started off with the team event, 4-person, 2 men, 2 women, then the individual, men, then women, and then the legendary series. What I'd like to really kind of key in on is, first off, is kind of the little historical portion of what the team event brings to GORUCK, what it also brings to the Rogue athletes. The correlation is that, like our GORUCK events, we bring teams together. Some of the teams know each other, and then many times they don't. And the apparatus is a forcing function, forcing people to work together, not necessarily knowing each other. So that's the correlation that today's, because some of these athletes do know each other, and others are from different spans from across the world that had come together in a very short burst and work as a team, function as a team. Somebody had to step up, take lead, and all work together to bring it together. Then we had the individuals kind of doing their thing, and we see that at a GORUCK events. There's that building of at GORUCK where people step off and they're individuals. They're not quite the team player, right? You've got the strong mules, like we see some of these really strong athletes, and then at some point in the evolution, it comes together, and we saw that on a course today. During the team event, there was a snap where they kind of came together. You could see them all kind of come together, working together as they came through the course and brought it home.
So the team event here at the Rogue Invitational was pretty cool. They started off, their teams of 4. They started off right here behind us in this end zone. And they basically ran down the field here to where you see those ropes hanging down on the Zeus. And they had to do, each member of the team had to do 2 consecutive rope climbs with their ruck on. So men 30 pounds, women 20 pounds. Once they got done with that, they came back about halfway where their apparatuses were just laying there in the grass, all laid out, dress right dress. They rehearsed this the other day, about an hour in the parking lot. But they all basically had a plan on how they were going to come together. So basically a couple poles, 2 wheels. They put them together with they used pretty cool. Rogue had their collars to hold the apparatuses together, and then some big 125 and 75 pound sandbags that they stuck on top as weight. Once they got their apparatus together, they exited the stadium down here to the southwest side, and they went on a course, if you will. Part of it was concrete, where they were moving fast. They basically have trailer tires on their apparatus, so they were moving pretty fast. But once they got down about, I don't know, 3/10 of a mile into it, they hit a dirt track that looked a lot like a BMX track or something, right? It was kind of rocky in places and hard packed dirt, and had some little hills and turns to it. And they moved. They got to the half-mile point, and there was a 5-foot wall of hay bales there. And in front of the hay bales, they had 4 100 pound sandbags and 4 100 pound sandbags, and they had to lift those up on the wall and put them up over the strongman bags, not really sandbags like we at GORUCK would use. These are the big ones you got to put your arms around like this and kind of lift it up on the wall. So they got their heart pumping. Now they're doing a strength move, right, trying to get those up on the wall. It really messes with your heart rate. As soon as they finished that, they got back on their cart and continued around the track, and then they raced back here to the stadium. Once they got back into the stadium, they came in and they had to disassemble. No, they just parked, didn't they? Yeah, they just came up and parked their cart and then ran across the finish line. It was a really good to see them start from yesterday at rehearsals, where they were just looking at us like, what do you mean, like, it's not just, some rehearsed thing. Like, they really had to go through and rehearse who was doing what, how we were building it, designate a leader, make a rotation plan, and think about, am I going to push or pull the cart? And all those things are very similar to what all our GORUCKers go through in a challenge event, where they come together, we designate a leader, they've got a pile of stuff to carry, and they got to come up with a rotation plan, and somebody's in charge. So it was great correlation between what we do at a challenge event and what they did here in the team event. The other thing I would say about the team event is like what I've experienced at the events I've led at GORUCK, are the women really seem to step up and take charge, and in most cases were the leaders on the teams. And I see that a lot at our GORUCK events. So that was a kind of interesting parallel for me. The last thing I'd say about it, we just finished up here a little while ago on their second iteration of the teams. And as they were coming out, we were all standing down on the edge of the field there, shaking their hands, telling them good job. And almost every one of the athletes that did the apparatus, the team event here at Rogue, all went, man, that was great. We loved that event. We really enjoyed that piece of it. So, hats off to GORUCK Nation, because, the CrossFitters are eating up what you guys do now. So I'll turn it over to Mocha for the individuals.
Yeah. Real quick before we leave the team event, what's the inspiration behind the apparatus and how is it used in Team Week?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the apparatus, just like if any of you tuned in last weekend to team assessment, the apparatus comes right out of Special Forces selection and assessment. And actually the third week, we call it Team Week. So when you go to Special Forces assessment selection, the first 2 weeks are individual stuff, a lot of running, push-ups, ruck marches, but all on an individual scale. And they mess with you at night and make you take psych evals and all kinds of stuff like that too. But in the third week, they bring you together in these teams. And those situations we get put into, you show up to a spot, along a sand trail, and there's a pile of stuff just laying there, poles, tires, all kind of telephone poles, all kind of crazy stuff. And you get said, hey, you're in charge, build this, you need to be ready to move by this time, and you have no idea how far you're going or when you're stopping, and you just got to come up with this rotation plan just to survive it, right? There's more stuff than, almost more than everybody can carry, so everybody's working. There's a small rest plan. That's where everything, if you've done a challenge event, that is the basis of everything we do in a challenge event, and it was the basis of what we did here today.
All right, I'll talk about the individuals. We started off with the men's, we went to women's, and then we went to the legends. Every field did great. You see them running down with their rucks, 30 pounds for the men and 20 pounds for the women. A lot of them had their waist belts put around and their chest straps on, but they also had them ready, loosen to go up the rope, and then loosen while they were running down the trail. It was taxing their cardiovascular system. As they hit that track, you see them sucking in some oxygen, their legs just giving away, and as they ran around, they hit the strongman bags, lifted those up, and as they're coming up out of the track, they're just looking like, what bag do I grab? We're pointing it, and they're like, all right, grab those things. Their legs are smoked like baby giraffes, and then they're picking them up, and they're trying to manage how they carry that load. They're looking at other people, bear hug, lift it up, and then they're putting them on, they're falling off, and all of a sudden they're grabbing the bags, and then they're cleaning them and putting them on their rucks. And they're doing what we did similar in Special Forces, where we used our ruck as a tool. We seen that at team assessment when they weren't using the rucks as tools. It's a tool. Use it as a leverage system. So a lot of those athletes figured it out today, and they just cleaned it, they did the work, put it over their head, and set it on the ruck, and they moved out. And you seen those guys starting to move forward, while some people had it still on their shoulders. That was a little bit more difficult, especially some of the smaller athletes with smaller arms. They couldn't really hold it on their one shoulder. But all in all, when the legendary field came down, they were having a great time. They looked like they enjoyed it. They were running by, saying hello, going down the track, and coming back, and they had a good time.
Mocha, Ragnar, and you have?
I just wanted to say some of the correlation of the events that we tried to give the athletes were from real world scenarios. The idea of moving the sandbags up onto the hail bale wasn't just, not only was it to have them do work, but it was also to replicate moving a body. Men had to be pulling 200 pounds. That's a body. That's a guy in kit, guy that you're having to load onto an LMTV. Small person. Small person, not a big person like me. And it was to replicate that. So there was some real practicality, some history behind that event. Dragging, sometimes, you know, hey, the conditions are not perfect. And as you have a casualty, you're not trying to injure them any further, but hey, I've got to get this casualty from point A to point B in a quick amount of time under fire, and this is the best way to do it. So there was a little bit of a emulation of what operators find themselves in an operational combat environment where they have to do things under stress and not always in the ideal conditions. So it was just a little bit of a snapshot to get that and to cause that chaos and a little bit of stress.
As the athletes were coming to that last strongman bag to carry up, that they had to run the extra half mile, you know, they're just coming up to it and they're looking at it, you know, and we're just throwing out some good old embrace the suck terminology, DFQ, you know, hey, don't freaking quit, you know, and embrace the suck. And they looked at us like, awesome, and they just grabbed it and moved out. So, you know, CrossFit athletes, GRTs, I love to see that correlation, you know. And hey, by the way, there's GRTs everywhere in the CrossFit community. You know, we've been approached by multiple GRTs and part of the staff, the volunteers, even the athletes coming up to us, telling us how they love the gear, how it's changed their lives, how the leadership lessons that they learned have changed their lives from that point forward. So it's great to see everything come together right here.
Cool. Ragnar, close us out.
Yeah. So, hey, the bottom line is, we're doing functional fitness. Whether you're a Rogue athlete or you're at GORUCK, it's all about functional fitness. Being you know, mobile, having mobility, being able to do a lot of hard work and not hurt yourself in the process. So if you're just one of those people jacking weights in the gym all day, you know, if you're competing for you know, the Arnold Classic, okay, I got it. But otherwise, you need to be doing functional fitness. It's what keeps you healthy in life. It's what keeps you strong. You know, all you people out there like me that's got little kids and stuff, you can still pick them up at 50. Hey, it's awesome, you know? Functional fitness is where it's at, guys. So get involved, get out there and do some GORUCK events, and don't be afraid to jump in some of this CrossFit stuff.
And GORUCK!